Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I recently put out a video sharing with you all of the Louis Vuitton bags that I have cleared out and sold from my collection over the last 13 years. And when I got to the end of that video, I was shocked at how many there were. And somebody came into the comment box and said, what about Chanel? Okay, so let's do all of the Chanel bags that I have cleared out and sold from my collection over the last 13 years. And I was convinced there would be nowhere near as many Chanel bags as there were Louis Vuitton, because I started buying Chanel later. Chanel is so much more expensive. And I thought I just haven't had that many Chanel bags. There's more. So far on my list, there are 15 Chanel bags that I have had and sold over the years. And that's shocking to me. And number one is the Chanel bucket bag. I was obsessed by this bag. This bag is stunning. I thought the hardware and the chain on this bag was like jewellery. I loved the rolled up nature of it. It was caviar. It was a stunning, stunning bag. The bucket bag shape just doesn't work for me. I think I wore this bag once. I wore it. I was okay if I was carrying it handheld because it didn't feel as bulky when I was carrying it. But if I tried to put this crossbody, it sat out a lot and it felt bulky and it felt like it was sticking out. And I was still very much in my era of every bag must be crossbody. I did not appreciate bags at that point that either you were carrying by handheld or that just didn't go crossbody. So that bag got sold. I've no regrets on selling it. I don't think about it unless I go to do one of these videos. When I go to do one of these videos and I look at the pictures of it, it was stunningly beautiful. So that's maybe a slight, no, it's not a regret because it would have been decor. I found it difficult to use because of the bulky nature, but boy, that's a stunning bag. The second bag I cleared out of my collection and got rid of was the Chanel Trendy. I love this bag. I think aesthetically, this bag is beautiful. And I have a confession, but we'll get to that. So I've had this bag in a beautiful navy, teal, petrol type blue. All of those are three different colours. Amelia, get with the programme. Petrol. Petrol's probably the most accurate description. And it's beautiful. It is lambskin, so you do have to be a bit more careful about wear on the corners. But the reason I sold this bag is I never used it. I used this bag once, and when I did use it, I remember thinking to myself, you haven't used that bag, you need to use it. That is not how you should be using bags. You should use them because you come in and you look at it and you are excited and you want to use it. Whereas I had to remind myself and convince myself to use that one. And I think the problem for me with that bag was it was just a little bit big, and I've had to get with the programme that I don't love bigger bags unless they're like the Neverfull and everything's in it for work. So I sold it because I found it bulky if I put it on crossbody. The Trendy in the traditional size is not made to be a crossbody bag. In my opinion, that's not the best way to wear it. I think it's bulky, it sticks out, it's short, not the best option. It is a beautiful handheld bag, but I just wasn't using it like that. Confession time, I have another Dublin vlog that will be coming, and I was in Chanel in Dublin very recently, and oh my goodness, the mini Chanel Trendy. Now, it's 6,600 or 6,900 euros. It's very expensive, but it's stunning, and I will put in footage of me trying it on. It's beautiful. In Dublin, they had the So Black version, which I think is 6,900 or 7,000. It's a bit more expensive. It's beautiful. Only that I know that I wouldn't wear a black bag. If you look at it independently or objectively sitting on the shelf and it's the So Black, it's a stunning, stunning version, beautiful, but I know I wouldn't wear it as black. They also had an olive green type colour, they had a blue, and they had a very bright pink, but the pink was like a Barbie pink, which is not my favourite shade. So they didn't have the right colour for me. But on my wish list, this has made it onto my wish list, is a mini Trendy. I think it's beautiful, and I think it'll be gorgeous crossbody. It'll also be gorgeous hand carried, just in that smaller size. It's so freaking cute, and this has wormed its way into my brain, and it's beautiful. But I've no regrets on selling the bigger version of the Trendy because the bigger nature of it just made it not work for me. Number three, the next Chanel bag that I cleared out and got rid of, and I've absolutely no regrets on, because this bag, I really didn't like this bag. This was a mistake. I never should have bought this bag, and it was the Chanel de Ville. I remember this was so impulsive, and a problem that I have is that I am impulsive. I'm getting a little better at knowing right off on instinct if I love it and it will work or not, but I'm still going to make mistakes. And this was one of the bags that I saw on Instagram. I had never seen this in person, and that was a huge mistake. Had I went into the store, or I think we were maybe still in lockdown, But had I went into the store and tried on the DeVille, I would have known this wasn't going to work, and I would have known this was not a purchase to make. But Amelia didn't wait and do that. I just went, oh yes, sell that to me from your Instagram page. Which, don't get me wrong, I have bought other bags from Instagram that have been absolute roaring successes and I love. But the Chanel DeVille, no. As soon as it came home, I opened it and I remember thinking, what have you done? That is not the right bag. That's a mistake. And I think I wore this once. I took it on a weekend away with my friend, but again, I had to convince myself to do it. I knew I didn't love it. I knew right away this bag wasn't going to work. The tweed was beautiful. The pink was beautiful. The glitter tweed or string or thread that went through the tweed was stunning. On the Instagram pictures, stunning. In Amelia's everyday real life, complete and utter waste of money. I sold this bag through Chapella in Dublin and I lost money on this. I think I probably lost money on the trendy or just about broke even. I definitely got my money back on the bucket bag, but on the DeVille I lost money because it took so long to sell this bag. It was really hard to sell, probably the most difficult Chanel bag. I've just thought of another bag I've sold. Oh, it's 16. But it took a long time to sell the DeVille, and I remember when it did sell in Chapella in Dublin, I went in and got the money and walked straight into Louis Vuitton and paid for my Louis Vuitton cape. With part of that money I had to put money to it, and I wore that in Dublin last week, so at least the money went to something, but big mistake buying this bag. Number 4 and 5, two bags I cleared out for my collection, are the Chanel Houndstooth tweed bags. I had this in the walk version and I had it in the Chanel 19. This is the beige tweed that was so sought after and so popular. I was obsessed with this tweed, hence why I ended up having it in both the Chanel 19 walk and the Chanel 19. I bought the walk first because I've no patience, and that's the truth of the matter. I saw this come up, the Chanel 19 wasn't coming up. This was really sought after. Everybody wanted this bag for a while. When I got the walk, it was slightly long on me. I would have needed to get the chain shortened. I don't think I ever wore this bag, not even once. And then that wasn't enough of a warning that as soon as the Chanel 19 came up, I bought that as well. And I bought it without even thinking and I loved it. When I got it home and I looked at it, objectively again, I loved this bag. I just couldn't style it. I couldn't make it work. Couldn't make the 19 work in my wardrobe. I think I wore the 19 once. I never wore the walk. On both of these I got my money back though because I sold them very quickly. They were in excellent condition and I sold them and got back what I had paid for them. So I didn't lose money, I don't think, on either of those, but I just couldn't make that tweed work. It's a beautiful tweed to look at, but I found it really hard to style. And when I did style it, I didn't love it. So both of those had to get cleared out and leave my collection. Number 6 was the Chanel Caramel Mini that again was highly sought after, very popular, and I got completely caught up in the hype for. I knew I didn't love this colour. I knew this was not the colour for me. This was in lambskin. It was a caramelly, light brownie type colour, not my colour. I don't love that colour. It's just not a bag that I wear. I don't think I have any bags in that colour now. And when it came out, very sought after, my friend on Instagram and in life, Laura, the CC Spy, who is fabulous and has the most amazing Chanel collection, actually helped me get that bag because it was going to be sought after, and that's the reason I bought it. I didn't actually love it, didn't like the colour, but I got caught up in the, oh, this is the next Chanel big colour, this is the next hyped colour, you need to have this in your collection, this is going to be the next big colour. Yeah, but it doesn't work for me because I don't like the colour, and it might be the next big colour, but I'm not going to use it or wear it. So I sold it. I definitely got my money back on that because that was actually a very sought after bag. But for me, the colour just didn't work and I bought it for all the wrong reasons. I bought it because it was the next big colour and I wanted to have it. Number 7 is the Chanel camera bag with the Paris charms. I bought this because I love the charms. And what I really wanted in this, but again, Amelia has no patience, and this is what I always say, if there is a bag that you absolutely love and want, buying something similar or a lesser, less expensive or more accessible version isn't going to do it. Well, it certainly doesn't for me. And I bought this because I love those charms, but I wanted the reissue, and I would have loved the mini reissue. I probably still would have preferred even the bigger reissue than the camera bag. I just love these Paris charms. I think they're fabulous and I think they look amazing. When it came up in the camera bag, which is much more accessible, still very expensive, but more accessible than either the mini reissue or the reissue size bag, yeah, I bought it for the charms, and I don't like camera bags, and I learnt from this bag. At least this bag had a teaching moment. let's take the positives. Every day's a learning day. I just don't love the camera bag. The shape didn't work for me. I didn't really like how it sat. I didn't like how it can spin. And I sold this through Rod at the Luxe Theory, I think. And I think I got my money back on this, or lost a little bit of money. Maybe I think I did lose a little bit of money, but it did teach me the lesson. And the reason I bought it was the charms, but the style of the bag was completely wrong for me. Number 8, and this one shocked a lot of you whenever I cleared this out and sold this on from my collection. And it was the Chanel mini reissue in the graffiti from the Matriarch collection. This is a beautiful bag, and I used to say that this was me in a bag. It was the Chanel mini reissue, but with iridescent graffiti all over it that said Chanel. It was tacky, it was in your face, it was definitely not quiet, and that is pretty much me when it comes to bags. This, you would have thought, was a perfect bag for me. And when I first had this bag, I loved it. I did love it, and I loved the graffiti, and I can't explain. I have a whole video on why I sold this, because this was so shocking to you and me and everybody else that I sold this bag. It just didn't. I think I fell out of love with it. I was going to say it didn't work. It did at the start, but I think I just fell out of love with it and decided that it needed to go. And I remember wearing it again. I hadn't worn it in about a year and a half or 2 years when I thought about selling it. And then I thought, I'm going to wear this once more to make sure that I'm certain, because seller's regret is a thing and I don't want that. And I remember wearing it and being completely underwhelmed by it and still not loving it. And that's when I realised, right, this does need to go. And at the same time, I was buying, hold there, this little sequence beauty, which is also a black base Chanel bag. This is sequenced all over it, and I much prefer this. And I knew I was going to love this as soon as I saw this. I loved this. I pre-ordered this 6 months in advance. So when I was buying this, which is very expensive, and the Chanel mini reissue in the graffiti, for me is the same type of bag. It won't be for everybody, but a black base with something over it, it was going to fill the same void. And Meredith was also really on the hunt for this, and she was specifically on the hunt for the graffiti mini reissue in the iridescent, which doesn't come up that often, and when it does, sometimes the prices can be crazy. So I knew Meredith really wanted it in her collection. I really wanted this. I had fallen out of love with the other one. I was underwhelmed when I wore it, and I decided to sell it, and that's why it now lives happily with Meredith in Australia. She loves it. I have no regrets, and this is one a lot of you thought I was going to regret selling this bag, but no, I have no regrets on this one. Number 9, another bag that quite a few people were surprised about, was the orange coral type colour and blue tweed bag with the chains that ran through it. This bag was stunning. This is one that I still think about. I wouldn't say I regret it. I love who this lives with now. It's somebody I chat to about bags a lot. I love they have it. I do think about it though. I don't regret selling it, but I think about it because it was stunning and it was a very unique version. It was beautiful. The tweeded this with the chains through it was just, oh, it was fabulous. It was something else. The reason I sold this was I have quite a few bags that fill the gap of a small Chanel crossbody bag to be worn in summer or worn in good weather. We don't get a lot of good weather in Ireland. That probably won't shock too many people. And as much as I love to get on a plane and go on holiday, there's only so many times that you can go away. There's only so many times I can wear those bags. And I now have maybe 3-4 of them, all Chanel mini reissues, which are very expensive, that are not mini reissues but Chanel mini rectangles, very expensive, and wear in that situation and fill that void. And I got to the point where I was trying to be more sensible, and I've done that again recently in my vlog sale, trying to be more sensible. Those bags are bright though, and my problem is that when I see them, I very impulsive, get carried away and buy them like that without really thinking it through. And that's how I end up with quite a number of Chanel mini rectangle crossbody type bags to wear in exactly the same circumstances because they're bright colours and that's what I'm drawn to. And I end up going, oh yes, me likey, me buy, and it's very expensive and there's too many of them and they sit on the shelf and there's not enough rotating for them. So I don't regret it, but I do still think about it because that bag was absolutely stunningly beautiful. But one of them at that point I just thought had to go because I had so many fighting for the same spot. Number 10, from my recent vlog sale, I cleared out and sold on the Chanel 19 in the black goat skin. This shocked a lot of you, and I've had a few messages on Instagram as well saying, I can't believe you sold that bag. I can't believe the Chanel 19 is gone. And I understand that because I have said so many times that the Chanel 19 is where fashion meets function for Chanel. It's a very functional bag. It's a very easy to use bag that I really didn't use all that much. I think I used it maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 times the whole time I had it. I don't love black bags, and that's what it comes down to. If I go for a black bag, I will look for a black that has something else going on, like the mini Dior, Lady Dior in the sequins, or this one is blue and black, that Chanel sequence up there, or even the small mini I just showed you. I will look to wear one of those rather than the Chanel 19, because plain black leather is just not what I gravitate towards, and it sat on my shelf a lot, and I know the person that bought it was looking for exactly that. They've messaged and said the reason that you sold that was the reason I was looking for it. I was looking for a plain black casual crossbody bag to wear every day, whereas I'm never going to do that. I'm always going to gravitate to a colour or a sequence or something with a bit more going on, and that's why I sold it. I still think the Chanel 19 is a fabulous bag. It's a great version of a Chanel bag. But for me, in the black, it just kind of became redundant as I get more and more comfortable with wearing colour and sequenced and brights all the time. So I've no regrets on this. I know it's recent. I don't think I will regret it though. I think this was the right decision. Number 11 was the Chanel Gabrielle in the burgundy that I insisted on making Chanel take an extra £1,000 off me because I wanted the massive big strap with it that said Chanel. And I never wore it. I never wore the bag. I never wore the strap. I think I wore this bag maybe 2-3 times the whole time I had it. I saw this on Fashionably Amy's channel. I also saw this on Laura the CC Spy, and I wanted it. I loved it. I loved the colour of burgundy. I just couldn't make it work. I couldn't style the Gabrielle. All of the chains should make it easier to style this bag. For me and my style, it made it harder. I just couldn't make it work. The burgundy, I don't wear a huge amount of burgundy, and I have, hold again, the Dior saddlebag in burgundy, and I know a lot of you would prefer the Chanel Gabrielle or to wear that over the burgundy in the saddlebag, but I love the Dior saddlebag. I know it's not for everybody, but it's for me. So anytime I was lifting a burgundy bag, I was lifting this, the saddlebag, and I wasn't wearing, and to be fair, I don't wear either of them a lot. I don't wear this a huge amount either. Burgundy's not, in the winter maybe, but I still go more to bright colours. So having the two burgundy bags, nearly dropped it but didn't work, and the Gabrielle didn't work, and I couldn't get on with the style, and I couldn't make the chains work. And I know also the person that bought this loves it and has no regrets and still wears it and still loves it. So this was the right decision. The Chanel Gabrielle could have sat here for another 3 years and I still wasn't going to wear it. Number 12 was a big decision to sell because I'm so sentimental, and it was the Chanel boy bag with the top handle. This was the first Chanel bag I ever bought. And this was a specific collection. It was the Salzburg collection, I believe. And the person who bought this had messaged me and said, I have a strong connection to that collection. And if you're selling that, I would love to buy it because this particular collection means something to me. And the bag was pristine. I shipped it out. I had everything with it. And I remember they said to me that their mum had been surprised that you could buy a Preloved second-hand bag and it came as if it was coming from the boutique. I just didn't use it. I found the boy bag boxy. I found when I wore it crossbody a little high, it stuck out a little bit because it's that box shape. It did have the top handle, which was beautiful. So I did carry it a couple of times by the top handle, but I think I used this bag the whole time I had it, maybe 4 times. And that was the first Chanel bag I ever had. So for a long time, that was the only Chanel bag I had, and I still wasn't wearing it. That is a sign that something is not right. And it was dark grey as well. Dark grey is not my colour. It did have a burgundy trim, which made it interesting. And I remember seeing it in Chanel and going, ooh, I want that. And it was beautiful. And it was a big purchase for me at the time. Chanel's still a big purchase. But certainly when I bought that, I was not really in the financial position to be buying Chanel. But the colour just didn't work. It just didn't work. And I have no regrets in selling it. And it's a bag I don't ever really think about. I have no regrets at all. I don't regret that. And I don't even really think about having it to use again, so right decision. Number 13 is another one that shocked you guys, and I got so many messages saying, do not sell that, do not clear that out, keep that bag, you will regret it. It's the black and white tweed mini. The black and white tweed mini that I kept for so long just because I wanted to have in my collection, if we're honest. I bought this bag when it was released. This was the one that had the little Chanel ribbon running through it. It's a stunning bag. I just never wore it. Black and white didn't really work for me. I tried on very recently in Dublin a black and white sequenced bag, and I didn't, Bestie loved it. I didn't buy it either because when I tried it on, I knew the black and white wouldn't work. It was very similar to that tweed. And the person who bought one of my Chanel Houndstooth beige bags also bought this, which is fabulous. I love that they're both there in that collection and that person loves them. And I know a lot of you said don't do it, and I know a lot of you said you're mad and you're crazy. So far, I don't regret it. It had sat here. I bought that in either 2020 or 2021, the year it was released. I paid a reseller to find it, so I paid over retail. And I think I used it twice the year I bought it, and I haven't used it yet. So that is 3 to 4 years that this bag has been in this room sitting and shown to you in videos and never worn. I maybe tried it on for a photo and then took it off and tried something else. And that is a sign. I had kept it just because I loved the look of it and I liked it in my collection, but that is not a reason to keep Chanel bags at Chanel prices. Number 14, and this is the Chanel mini raffia bag. This is the one that I was in the vlog sale very torn about. This is a beautiful bag, but I sold it for the same reason as I sold the Chanel coral tweed bag, and I sold it to the same person because we have very similar tastes. I decided to let this go because the Prada bag, which is sitting over there in the corner, and a lot of you are disgusted at this, but I use that much more. When it comes to the summer or lifting a raffia type bag, that's the one I go for. That I think is the orange striped raffia bag I need in my life. I think I wore the tweed or the Chanel version 2, 3 times at most. I just didn't reach for it, and it's another bag that has to compete with all of those summer bags that I was talking about earlier, that are bright, that are sequenced, that are shiny, and I just don't have enough use to rotate that many of them. And anytime I was going for an orange one that was striped, I went for the Prada, and that made this one very redundant, and it's beautiful. The reason I was very unsure about selling this was how beautiful it is, and I love to look at it. And when I tried it on in the camera in the viewfinder, I tried it on the mirror when I was going to sell it, and I looked at it and I thought, don't sell that, it's beautiful. And it is beautiful, but I wasn't wearing it. And I have bought so many bags recently, and I have more sitting over there, that I had to make sensible decisions, and I can't just keep bringing bags in and stockpiling them up there. That makes me feel uncomfortable and makes me feel a bit overwhelmed. So this had to go. It was the right decision, but it's a beautiful, beautiful bag. Number 15 is another very recent one from the vlog sale, and it was the Chanel Cocoa Crush in the beautiful, beautiful colour. The reason I sold this is because I have that berry Chanel mini over there in the chevron, and they are both very, very similar. And I found that as my collection is growing and I have so many bags and I don't want to have lots of bags that are redundant, I would look at both of them and they both were doing the exact same thing. So you could only wear one. And I know I have a lot of pink bags, but they'll maybe be a slightly different shape or a slightly different style. These were basically exactly the same. Only one had the Cocoa Crush ball on it. One was quilted, one was chevron. That was the only difference. And when I would look at them both, there wasn't really room to have both. And I just felt uncomfortable keeping both, and that one needed to go, and I decided to sell the Cocoa Crush. It's a beautiful colour. It's also going to somebody that has bought a bag from me previously, which I love. I love that that's happening, that it's in this community of people that are having them and loving them. I don't regret this. I do love that bag though. I love the colour, and this colour for me, letting any bag go in that colour, I find hard. I don't regret it because I know I did it for the right reason, and I know that that means that one will now get worn whenever there is a need to wear that type of colour. Having two was just ruling them out. One was always getting ruled out and redundant. So I don't regret it, but I always find selling this colour of bag difficult because I'm so drawn to this colour and I love it so much. And the last bag that I had completely forgotten about until we started filming, and there's maybe more. If I've forgotten about anything else, I'm sure you guys will tell me in the comment box. But the Chanel coral bag with the chain. This bag, I loved the chain. I remember seeing this in Dublin, trying it on, loving the chain. But I remember having a tiny niggly doubt in Dublin about whether or not I loved this bag. But if we're being honest on this channel, which I try to do, I wanted to buy a bag. I was in Dublin for the weekend, I was on a high, I wanted to buy a Chanel bag, and that's crazy. Do not buy Chanel bags at Chanel prices just because you go into the boutique and want to buy one, but can't actually find any that you love, so you're going to find one to buy. Crazy behaviour, Amelia. And I never wore it, not even once. Not once. And this bag it was the chain that drew me to it. I loved the chain on it. I thought the chain was very cool. But the bag itself I never wore. It was slightly bigger than a rectangle size. It was a coral colour. I just don't know why I really wore this. I think because it was coral. Those colours, a bit like the blue and coral tweed bag and the Chanel mini raffia. As much as I love coral to look at, it's not the colour that I use the most, and when I would try it on, I would always gravitate back to a pink bag, and I think that's why I never wore this. And ultimately the right thing was to sell this. I sold this for way under retail. I lost a lot of money on this bag, but it was the right thing because it was sitting here and I was never using it. And I shouldn't have bought it in the first place. If you get that niggling doubt when you're trying a bag on, don't convince yourself to buy it. So those are the 16 bags. 16 Chanel bags. I am shocked by that. And that was one I've just remembered. If there's any more, let me know. I think that's them all. I can't believe that I have bought, owned and sold 16 Chanel bags. I haven't even been buying Chanel for that long. That's crazy. And that goes to my impulsive personality. When I like something, I have an addictive personality. And when I get into something like the Chanel minis, rectangle type shapes, I have an addictive personality and want to buy more and more and more. And I don't take the time in between to pause, to use what I have, to consider what I have, and to make smart choices. A bit like that coral chain bag. I wanted to buy one, so I bought one. And I get caught up in that addictiveness, and then I have to calm myself right down. And that's probably the truth of why there's so many of these bags got sold, because I bought them in a frenzy. And that's not the way to buy bags at this price. It's not the way to buy bags at all when you want to make sure that you use them. And I would say for quite a few, that impulsiveness and addictiveness to collect. I keep saying I'm not a collector, but there you go. To collect that type of bag ends me up with far too many, and then I end up selling them. So I am shocked there's 16 Chanel bags I've cleared out of my collection in the space of a few years. Wow. But the vast majority of them are not regrets. The vast majority of them, it was the right decision. Let me know which one in the comment box that you're the most appalled and shocked by, that you think I shouldn't have sold. I can guess what some of those are going to be. If you've enjoyed this in any way, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. And if you're not done with me yet, I'm going to leave another video for you on the screen to enjoy. And I will link up above the Louis Vuitton version of this, where I think I had sold 13 or 14 bags. I definitely thought Louis Vuitton would be the most. No, Chanel leaves it in the shade. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, please do give it that thumbs up. I will leave that other video for you on the screen. Thank you so much for watching me. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.